Hadi Om, and welcome to Thinking is Free, proudly brought to you by Chinmaya Mission New Zealand. Hadi Om, and welcome back to Thinking is Free. My name is Akash, and we're joined by Ishanji.
Hadi Om.
So in the last episode, we talked about society and the role that it plays, why we need it, its purpose and relevance, and it took me a while to get my thinking to kind of shift towards the macro level and understanding that, it needs there to kind of serve as a framework and provide some sort of order for a group or population of people, and that the order, or there's different types of order or frameworks that forms or the society follows or the group of people follow.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about time frame as well, and thinking, or like the thinking given to time around a society. And we kind of ended, we're going to talk about what a spiritual society looks like, or how you spiritualize a society, or spirituality and society.
Yep.
But what we ended with on the last episode was what your thoughts on the future of society look like. So maybe you want to start with where you think society is going in this current day.
Right. So these are my thoughts and my thoughts alone, right?
Yeah.
It does not represent a particular ideology's thoughts or an organization's thoughts. These are how I think. I think we are becoming more and more extroverted.
Mm-hmm. In what sense?
In the sense that our focus is increasingly on external achievements, external successes, tangible outcomes. And at the same time, there is a part of the world which has achieved a lot of these external successes, and they're starting to turn inwards, asking whether can true happiness or fulfillment and contentment be arrived at, because they have everything and yet they're unfulfilled. So this play of those who do not have everything, wanting everything, and those who have worked hard and achieved a lot of these successes, now asking the question, there has to be something more. Where is it?
Yeah.
Right. And this classical turn of individuals in the Western society towards spirituality, which is a gift from Eastern society, we see it more and more today. And at the same time, we have individuals, majority of the individuals from the developing nations wanting to have all these facilities, all the luxuries, all the comforts that the Western society or the developed nations have achieved for themselves. And the individuals of the developed nations asking, wait, there has to be something more. I think I'm missing something. So there is an increasing awareness that materials and money does not equate to happiness, and that there's something more that we need to figure out.
I think also just adding on to that, I know you're sharing yours, but I'm just adding on to that. Also just social acceptance, and because that's quite a big thing right now as well.
Correct. Right. So we can factor in external ideas about success and happiness. But when we look at the end of the day, when we try and evaluate and ask the question, am I fully content? Am I happy? We really can't say that, yes, we are. So the direction in which the society is likely to move forward is how our thinking changes or how it continues to remain. If the dialogue or the discourse that happiness is within, it's something non-tangible. You cannot equate it to material success. You cannot equate it to social acceptance. You can't equate it to having X number of followers or X dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Then we really do stand a chance of moving in the right direction. But if we do not, then obviously our focus will remain driven externally, which I think in the last 200 years, to achieve this external success, we've compromised on the environment,
Mm-hmm.
the people around us, ethics, morality.
Yep.
We've paid a heavy price for it. And if it continues, it does paint quite a bleak picture of society. Yeah. So those are my
Quite grim.
thoughts. Huh?
Quite grim.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think just the same as well. Yeah, I think
The choice is ours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And therefore the importance of having this conversation. The choice is ours. What are our thoughts on it, and in which direction would we like to move?
Yeah. Changing the narrative of
Yes.
society, because I also think the same as well when I speak to people or just watch
Yeah.
as well, and you kind of think, I think also having been born, I think culture plays a big part in this as well, or connection to culture. And having been born in New Zealand, my parents were also born here. My mum was born here, and our parents or her parents and my great grandparents have migrated from India, and so just the connection that I have, I see, like the way I live my lifestyle is predominantly through the Western lens, and then there's this like in between space where
They both merge.
they merge and understanding what that is. But I feel like in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of, where you this East and West has this play. And for me personally with architecture, I'm trying to look at how we can bring the Eastern back through space.
Yep.
Because I think the environment has a strong influence and an impact on who we are as people.
Yep.
And can help to shape us.
Yeah, so they both offer different perspectives, and we're not saying one is right and the other is wrong.
No. Yeah.
It is a balance that has to be achieved, and that balance will be different for each individual at different points in time. But eventually, one has to ask the question, is happiness within or is happiness outside?
That's what I was going to come to as well, is we've got to go back to rule one and understand the context of things.
Yes.
Is we're talking about where true infinite happiness is coming from.
Yes.
When we're talking about what we're talking about right now.
Yes. So when we talk about spirituality, as you said, rule one is happiness is within. And because society is nothing but a group of individuals, and the order created is to cater to those individuals, if we overlook this idea that happiness is within, and the purpose of life is to discover that happiness which lies within each one of us, if this is overlooked, then no matter how much we achieve externally, there will be this sense of incompleteness, discontentment within. And happiness will always feel like a distant goal to be achieved by doing something more. And so when we say integrating spirituality into society, it is trying to create an order, keeping in mind that happiness is within, and then having these ways of life of interacting with individuals, whether we call them social norms or environmental interactions or economic transactions, all of it to be catered towards helping each individual discover their innate inner happiness.
Do you think this can be done? Because I'm thinking if you're looking at on changing on a nation, because what some people might say is like, I understand there's also different like religions or ways of achieving this happiness.
Yes.
But the happiness we're talking about in the school of inquiry we're talking about is through Vedanta, right?
Yes. Well, I don't think we call it Vedanta. Remember, Hinduism is a new term coined in the recent past. Prior to that, the religion was called Sanatan Dharma, the eternal fundamentals that uphold society, individuals. So Sanatan Dharma, the way it prescribes life is not for a particular group of people. It keeps in mind the human psyche. It's universally applicable.
Because that's what I'm worried about is like, when we're saying this is how we're going to change the society, and then it's like, well, everyone's going to follow the guy in the yellow. And then people are like, I'm not following that, you know? I've grown up as
correct.
This.
Correct. So there is this, it's not you have to do it this way. Everyone's free to question it. And there is an inherent logic to it and there is enough variability in what is prescribed so as to meet the various personality types that are naturally prevalent in any given population. So the idea is each one of us have certain innate tendencies. And they can change over time, and that's absolutely fine. We are not fixed or boxed into one category. Recognizing what our personality type is. In Hinduism, we have broad classifications of 4 groups called the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. And this is based on their mental temperament.
We covered that in
we have
our
covered
earlier
this.
podcasts.
Now, recognizing what my temperament is, when I start acting in line with my predominant personality type, I find work joyous. And I feel that what I do is worthwhile, it's fulfilling, it gives me happiness, contentment. And in the long run, when one works towards the welfare of society, doing what is natural to them in line with their personality, with their swabhava, then one develops this capacity to recognize this inner peace and happiness. Right? It's like the word that we use is vasanas. These are inherent tendencies that we are born with. And as we start expressing them, and we do it with the right attitude, keeping everyone's welfare in mind, those vasanas, they start to reduce. And as those vasanas reduce, the desires reduce, the agitations of the mind reduce. And in a mind which is free of desires, which is free of agitations, it gains this capability to look within. And when guided, it allows it to recognize this inner happiness, this infinite, independent happiness, which is available to each one of us. but we fail to recognize it because of the presence of these vastness. So the whole societal structure that was created through the lens of Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism, the basis was the goal of life is attaining this infinite inner happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else was only a stepping stone towards that. So how is society classified, or how is society structured? It's got these natural variations to meet the temperaments present in the population. And so there'll be certain people who are thinkers, there'll be certain people who are leaders, there'll be certain people who are driven by money,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be certain people who are efficient workers. And so when people are able to tap into their inner personality and work in line with that, no one's higher or lower. It's just they serve to, or they act in the world outside, in society, to make it run smoothly. And acting in this manner, in line with your personality, so you're not, nothing is forced upon you. You just recognize what is your personality type. You find your place in the world outside, in society, and you work towards the welfare of that society.
Mm.
And in doing so, one is able to meet all their external needs. Because if you're doing your best, catering to the society, why won't the society cater to you? So my external needs are looked after by the society itself.
Yep.
But more importantly, acting in this manner, I develop the ability to tap into that inner happiness. And therefore, there is a clear picture or clear goal for the societal structure as well. It is not only external gains and successes, but it is catering to the innate need of every individual to find contentment and happiness within. And Sanatan Dharma caters to both of this simultaneously, and this is what makes it so, so beautiful. Again, a person is free to accept or reject it based on whatever they think.
Mm.
But having thought of it myself to a certain degree, I've come to the conclusion that really there is no better way of doing things than this. In fact, there is no structural arrangement that caters for external welfare and inner satisfaction and growth simultaneously. This is the only one. And obviously, there'll be different variations of this in different parts of the world, as long as these principles, both inner and external needs, are being met. That societal structure is perhaps a good one to follow.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Do you think this is...
I see you have questions, so please ask.
Yeah. Trying to think, if you were the Prime Minister of New Zealand,
Yes.
how do we achieve this on a societal level with the learnings and the teachings you have, without saying that this is anything religious? Or I'm also thinking for someone who's listening, and we're not thinking on a national level, but looking at a corporate, in a work environment, that's still a society.
Yes, I think it has been incorporated into a corporate level. Much harder at the societal level because it requires the buy-in of so many more individuals.
Yep.
Right. And when we say in Bharat, in India, this kind of system existed, it took them hundreds and thousands of years to get it integrated into society, this ideology. It wasn't done overnight.
Yeah.
Right? or at least it was done with the idea that there are people who know better.
Mm-hmm.
They have thought about things deeply. And if they are guiding us, let us give it a good chance. Right? And today we do the same. Not every individual who votes really knows what the governmental plans are. Right?
Yeah.
They just trust that this person or this group of individuals who are governing the society, we put faith in them saying that they will make the right decisions for me. So that inherent leap of faith is common to both. But in this case, because it is so dramatically different to what we have been used to, it poses a challenge when we ask the question, can it be implemented at a national level? But at a organizational level, where I used to work, there are these what do you call them? Personality development workshops.
Yeah.
Where you have a life coach or a business coach come in, and he runs through these exercises where he explains people that there are different personality types, and he helps them find what is the right avenue within the business unit for an individual to act and prosper in.
You're a lion, you're an owl, you're this animal.
Yes, so there are different variations of it. Sometimes there's 6 different variations.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's 4.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's done with elements.
Yep.
Right? That you're either a mountain or an earth or water or fire.
Right. Okay, now I'm understanding how we translate what we're learning into how we can kind of employ these ideas into the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at an organizational level, we have seen it happen. And it's a business practice today.
Yep.
In fact, many businesses buy into it because of what it has to offer to them. Job satisfaction of an individual, retaining an individual is so critical.
Yep.
Because the company is spending or is investing into the individual, whether it's through training or paying them. They don't want to see all that knowledge walk out the door just because someone is getting more money elsewhere.
So how would you employ this on a national level?
Remember, if at an organizational level, when it is implemented, it is through the buy-in of every member.
So even because I'm trying to think on even the smallest thing we can do.
Yes.
What is that small change? Just that 1% thing. Because if we say we can't, it's like we can say it's hard, but I feel like there's still something we can do.
Yes.
Otherwise,
what we can do is start helping people understand that happiness is within.
Yeah. Back to rule 1.
Back to rule 1. And this is the spiritual approach to everything. As long as we think happiness is outside, right? This is on par with an individual saying, more money equals better life. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To a certain degree, when we are at, the first few jobs, yes, in a market where everything's getting more expensive, we do need more money and we understand that. But after a certain level, it's not about the money. Job satisfaction is definitely not dependent solely upon the pay.
Yep.
There's so many other things to it.
Yep.
What are those things? What is it that really makes an individual satisfied, content, happy?
Yeah, I've been working at my company for the last 7 years, and I can 100% say it's not for the money. It's definitely what the company believes in, the relationships we have with people.
And perhaps you've been able to express yourself, your innate personality.
That's right.
Unlike anywhere else.
That's 100% what it is as well.
Right?
We've been given the just the space to create or bring our own learnings, our own culture, our own values and thoughts into what we design and what we create.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the word agency is used.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it is that idea of helping people understand that there is more to life when it comes to that fulfillment and contentment than external tangible benefits or results. There's something here that needs to click, where we are able to find that unique environment where we are able to express ourselves. And that's not it. That actions, when dedicated towards societal welfare with a higher purpose, brings us immense amount of fulfillment. When I'm able to help someone, along with helping myself as well, it's not that I'm not catered for, but the self-inclusive approach, which we also have spoken about.
I was just going to say that, yeah, you automatically get taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And over time, I gained this ability to recognize that happiness is within.
Yeah.
Which, if not touched upon, if not recognized, there'll always be discontentment, unfulfillment, the sense of I have to do something, I have to become something more so that I will be happy one fine day. And it's an elusive goal which we are never able to achieve.
Yeah. I think it's important that we talked about it, because on a societal level, like for the people like myself and people who are listening, people like yourself, like it's easier to say we'll leave it to the leaders of society to change the society. But like we said, that's going to take years and years to change that thinking. And so, or that.
I think it needs to be a ground up approach rather than a top down approach.
Yeah. It needs to be us.
Yes.
And the work that we do. And like you've said as well, is that thinking on the self-inclusive, where I automatically get taken care of through my service to other people and for my service to society.
Yep.
I'm showing that, happiness it's like this podcast.
Yes.
It's our service to the society to help the society understand that happiness is within yourself.
Yeah.
And therefore, this is how we bring spirituality to the society and involve society. And automatically, us just sitting here and talking, we're already taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it does start with education. And, this kind of ideology was taught in the schools itself. Right? And therefore, it did become universal at one point in time. Just like mathematics is universal today. How? It is taught ground up. It's not enforced top down.
Yep.
Right? So it does take time in the higher decision makers accepting this kind of ideology. But once done, and if it can be implemented at the ground level, the grassroots level, it will seep into the society and it will be there for a long, long time to come.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's good. It's been a nice play on like going from the micro to macro and then bringing it back into micro to help the macro,
Yes.
We need to do the work to help the society. We can't just sit there and expect society's going to change overnight, because it's not.
It's not. And we're not doing it for anyone else. We're doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And it benefits me first, and then it ripples out into the society as well.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you as always, Ishanji, for guiding us through, because there are so many questions and so many ways we can look at it. But just having you there to guide us through the inquiry is always appreciated.
I'm always happy to talk spirituality.
Cool. Hariom. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Thinking is Free, proudly brought to you by Chinmaya Mission New Zealand. For more information on events, courses, seva projects and study groups, please visit chinmaya.org.nz. Hari Om.